Once a giant, always a giant. For me, it's only a giant.
What's going on YouTube? Day546. Man, I mean, how much more can this team possibly get beat down? It's just, I just don't think I've seen a team this inept on offense in my entire life. In my entire life as a Giants fan. Now, I know a lot of people say, like, oh, the Giants of the 70s were bad. The Giants of the 70s were this bad, blah, blah, blah. But looking at the numbers, looking at the numbers and looking at everything, even the wins and losses over like the last 10 years, the Giants of this time period especially, they're just horrible. They're horrible. I just don't know where they go from here. Um, First off, hopefully Daniel Jones is okay. Hopefully that neck injury isn't related to the neck injury he had a couple of years ago, and it's just something like a stinger or a whiplash or something like that, and he can get back in the game next week or the week after. And you know he's his life isn't affected, because that's something that I just didn't like to see. As I saw some people on Twitter celebrating that the guy is injured and laughing at him getting hurt, and that's just not cool at all. It's not cool at all. We can criticize our quarterback. We can criticize anybody that puts on that Giants jersey, but at the end of the day, these dudes are out here doing something that a lot of people are scared to do. They're doing something a lot of people would be shaking in their boots if they had to stand out there like any NFL quarterback does and get hit the way that they have to get hit. So this team and this offensive line specifically is getting Daniel Jones killed. They're getting Tyrod Taylor hurt. They're just not playing well, and that starts with Bobby Johnson. That starts with the fact that there's been injuries with Andrew Thomas on the blind side. With at first we were feeling good about Andrew Thomas and Bredesen there, and now you have to move Bredesen to center, so that means you have to put Glowinski at left guard, who got benched from right guard, and you got McKethan out there who had one good game, but other than that, he has not looked good at all. And McKethan gets hurt, so then you have to put Jalen Mayfield out there, and then you got the one guy who's been in the same spot all year, Evan Neal, who just still looks horrible. And I'm not with the move Evan Neal to guard. I'm not with, moving him to guard and seeing what we have next year, or giving him next year at tackle before we make a decision. Evan Neal is not going to turn it around. He wants to talk about people flipping burgers. Well, listen, that might not be a bad job opportunity for him to be flipping burgers, because football isn't it. And I do not think that he'll be a good guard, because he struggles with leverage and he struggles with hand placement. So I just don't see it. Maybe he's a backup tackle in this league and that's how he makes his money. But he's just not good right now. He's not good right now. He's a hard worker from what I've seen. Up until this past comment, he's the perfect guy off the field. But he's a hard worker. I just don't think it's from lack of trying. I just think he just doesn't have it. He just can't get it done out there at right tackle. And he's, like I said, the only guy who's really a starter out there. And he looks just as bad as the rest of the guys out there. He had a sack he gave up where he didn't even touch the guy or even look at the edge rusher that came off the edge and hit Daniel Jones. Josh Azudu, playing left tackle, didn't even touch he barely touched the edge rusher that came off that edge and hit Daniel Jones in the back. So the offensive line is horrible. Daniel Jones, when he was out there, he made some good plays. He made some plays downfield, as far as taking the shots downfield. Waller dropped one on a high point kind of pass, and then he dropped another one, which was a walk-in touchdown. So all of it wasn't on Daniel Jones today, but he did have some missed throws again. Some throws that were some short throws. One throw to Wan'Dale Robinson where the ball is behind him and on the ground. We just can't have that. And that's been a consistent issue in his career, is these short throws and these checkdowns. Guys have to stop to catch the ball, when the whole point of checking the ball down is throwing the ball so a guy can catch the ball and keep running with it. Receiving core, I can't say anything about the receiving core, because they're getting bad play from the offensive line. They're getting bad play from the quarterback spot. And they just are not, they aren't able to really make anything happen. They aren't able to make anything happen if the other guys don't do their job. The play calling, the same thing. I mean, a couple of times I'm like, why are you getting the ball inside your own 25 and you're not even taking a shot at the end zone? Uh, some of the play selection at times I didn't like, but for the most part, I'm not even going to come at the offensive staff. I will say something about Bobby Johnson just because guys aren't getting hands on people. Like, I've seen teams be tattered and completely torn apart on the offensive line, and for some reason, like they still are able to function, somewhat regularly as an offensive line. It's just not a complete disaster. But Bobby Johnson has to be on the hot seat. But I know Bobby Johnson is going to Brian Dable and saying, listen, what am I supposed to do with all of these third strings and injured guys? What am I supposed to do with this offensive line? Which I can't blame him for saying. But this offense looks putrid. It looks awful. Like I said, no one's executing. No one's executing. We have scored. This time we got to 16 points, so that's more than the 11 a game that we were averaging. But again, we did not score an offensive touchdown today. Pinnock with that pick six was the only touchdown we scored today. It's just unbelievable. I have not seen a team look as bad as the Giants look playing football this year. Now, as far as the defense goes, some people are saying fire Wink Martindale, blah, blah, blah. First off, the defense has issues tackling. Wink Martindale can't make them tackle. They were one of the best tackling teams in the last. They were the best tackling team, tied with Washington last year, and they've gone to probably the worst this year. And Miami's offense is going to score 30 against elite defenses this year. So the Giants forced 3 turnovers. They put the ball right there for the offense to score 3 times. They scored on one of them themselves. And then the other times, I think the offense missed the field goal. And then the other time, the offense made the field goal. So the Giants scored on a pick six. And then besides that pick six, they scored a field goal on 3 turnovers. So it's just the offense is so inept. Wink Martindale did the best that he could. This Dolphins offense is going to do what they did against mostly everybody in the league, unless you're an elite defense and you're on your game. And even still, Tyreek Hill, Devin Achane, Devon Achane, Mostert, and Jalen Waddle are all threats to catch the ball and just house it at any time, or run the ball and just house it. There's no stopping this Dolphins offense. This is why I just pretty much was like, why am I putting all this effort into a pregame video when I know exactly what's going to happen? Mike McDaniel did exactly what I would do if I was coaching against the Giants defense this year, which is get the ball to the edges of the defense and make them tackle. They could not tackle for the most part, and that's how they gave up most of the plays they gave up. Even with 3 turnovers, they still were able to put up 31. So this offensive line, they got Daniel Jones hurt. Tyrod was running for his life. If you look at some of the stats, some of them were in garbage time, but I guess Waller had his best game as a Giant so far with 11 targets, 8 receptions, 86 yards. Again, he could have had a touchdown, and he also could have had another 20-plus yard play, but he didn't get down. He didn't catch either one of them. Just putrid stats. And I know some people are going to say the Giants don't have a super threat at wide receiver on offense, and that may be true, but they have enough. I see enough there for them to be able to make plays somewhat consistently. It's just the offensive line's performance so bad, and then even when they're given protection, the quarterback just isn't delivering it where the ball needs to be put on a consistent basis. And it's just a cycle. The offensive line is up, the quarterback is down. The quarterback is up, the offensive line is down. And this is just the recipe to this team is getting the brakes beat off of them every single week. There is no week, there's no time this season the Giants fans have gotten through the first quarter and not felt horrible after the first quarter, after 2 quarters. There's no time that the Giants haven't got through the first half or the first quarter and not felt horrible. I mean, it makes you think that that Cardinals game was a fluke because the Cardinals have been, for the most part, competitive, and we tore them apart that second half. But I mean, the the consistent thing so far for the Giants has just been just getting blown off the field, completely blown off the field. So I just don't know what comes next here. I mean, you got to think at this point, one in four, they're going to be a top five team in this draft, and they're going to be looking at quarterbacks, and they're going to have to address this offensive line in the second round or in free agency, and they're going to have to get another edge rusher, and they're going to have to replace Leonard Williams, and they're going to have to probably get some linebacker help because Bobby Okereke doesn't look like a guy that is really going to be all that solidified for us going forward. Um, I mean, we need some more edges, as I said. I think Aziz, this might be his last year or his second to last year. We just need help on this team. Um, as far as the trade deadline goes, you got to think Saquon Barkley is going to be on that trade deadline. Leonard Williams, Adoree Jackson, because Trey Hawkins is out there. You might as well give him as much reps as possible, and just let Hawkins and Flott and Banks be your three cornerbacks, and just trade Adoree because you're not going to make the playoffs this year with this 1-4 record the way that they're playing. I know Andrew Thomas and JMS getting healthy is going to help this offense look better, and maybe the Giants even come back. Maybe the Giants even win this game with those two in the game. Maybe that happens. But as of now, we got the league's hardest schedule. The Giants are 1-4. We got the Bills coming up. We got the Commanders, who are no cupcake, who are going to put up some points. And it's just about scoring points. It doesn't matter who we play against if we can't score any points. So, I just don't know where to go from here. It just becomes really difficult to watch these games. It becomes really difficult to stream these games because we're out of it after the first quarter or out of it after the second quarter. And it just becomes just like a hangout stream because there's nothing productive going on out there on the field. But I'll just say I hope Daniel Jones is healthy because I would rather see him out there than the backup out there. I have tickets in 2 weeks. The last time I bought tickets, Daniel Jones got hurt, and then the backup got hurt. And then this time, it seems like he's hurt. So hopefully he's okay. Hopefully Deonte Banks is okay. And we're going to go through this all over again. I mean, the Bills are going to blow us off the field next week. And hopefully we can make it a game in 2 weeks against Washington when I'm actually at the stadium. So, oh, man, anybody that's watching this, I mean, you're a real fan. You're a real Giants fan. And there's got to be better days. There's got to be better days coming after this because this is literally the worst I've ever seen this team look in my entire life. It just is.